in the coaching world and in psychology, there's something called the confidence competent loop. As you do something, it gives you more confidence, which then allows you to continue doing, which means you grow your competence, which then helps you to be more confident.
Good afternoon. Oh, it's still morning. Good morning, Heath. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Mark. How are you?
Very well. It's morning our time still, at least, so when we're recording this. So, Heath, you and I haven't talked in a bit here on our little interviews, conversations about well-being in different ways. If anyone who hasn't watched one of Heath's videos, Heath owns Rise Over Run Professional Coaching. Is it what's the end of that? Rise Over Run?
Rise Over Run Coaching.
Coaching, just coaching,
Yeah.
exactly. So, if you haven't heard of Heath talk about Rise Over Run in the past, Heath, why don't you give us a quick overview of what you're doing at Rise Over Run?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Mark. First off, Rise Over Run Coaching, what we do is we help people take their next step in life. And what I mean by that is we specialize in agile performance coaching. I have a background of over 18 years in corporate America with doing agile practice management, agile project management. And what's interesting is we see in the business world how important Agile is. Over 70% of organizations across the world use Agile to manage their most important projects. But the funny thing is, while the best of the best companies use it, we haven't really transitioned that into our own personal lives. And so it's almost like we go to work, we put on our Agile hat, then we get ready to leave, we take it off, hang it on the hat rack, and we walk out the door. What we've done is we've taken that, those methodologies, if you will, those values from Agile, and we've taken that and we've applied that to a performance-based way of coaching. So that's really what Rise Over Run coaching does.
Very good. So basically taking agile methodology and applying it to person's lives or professional careers instead of just projects in the workplace.
Absolutely. Yep. You got it.
Are you doing well? Is it growing? Having success?
It is. It's starting to catch on more and more. One of the things that we have found within the coaching arena is that a lot of people are really lacking clarity. And one way that we grow is we help people with gaining better clarity, whether it's professional or whether it's personal. So it's starting to take hold. Starting to catch fire, and we are growing. So that's always a good place to be.
I don't want you to give away any secret sauce, but what are your thoughts on someone gaining clarity?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, we live in such a fragmented society. We have so much information coming into us. Right. We have overload and overwhelm. So totally sometimes agree. One of the best things to do is to just hit pause, even if it's for 10, 15 minutes. Hit pause and really take a few deep breaths and just kind of let things come in and go out. And then once you've been able to settle your mind, really what we talk about is, who do you want to be? Not who are you today, but who do you want your future self to be? And we also talk about, how do you want others to perceive you? We always are worried about people perceiving us in different ways, but we really have control over that by being clear in who we are. So who we are, how we want to interact with other people are two of the key ways that we really work with clarity.
I think the initial statement you had made, in my mind, reflected a little bit on self-care. Sometimes with all the noise and stuff we have going on, a lot of people get caught up in not taking time for themselves or having self-care, which I think that can help people with clarity to some extent too. And it's really relevant for me because I just recorded a video this morning about self-care. And I find it interesting because we do all have busy lives. There's all kinds of information. There's a lot going on every day in many people's lives. I would say most people's lives. Mm-hmm. And I know myself, I can get caught up in waking up in the morning, getting my tea, coming down here and start working. And before I know it, I've been working for 2 hours and I think, oh my gosh, I have all these things to do. I'm going to be here all day. And it adds stress to my life. And what I need to do, and it just happened yesterday or 2 days ago where I came down, that same thing happened. I got caught up and I needed to step away. And so what I've been trying to do is step away and take some time for myself in the morning, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a lot of time. It can be 15
Right.
minutes, it can be 45 minutes, but doing something, walking your dog, meditating, exercising, yoga, spending time just in the quiet, reading an article with your tea or your coffee. Those are things you can do that, in my mind, help me get clarity on the rest of the day and understand what I need to do to accomplish the task. And some people will say that it's a waste of time because there's all these things to do, but I find it helps me get into a better mindset, so I am more positive, or I am able to accomplish more. Or, the other argument I've heard in conversations with the counselor Jamie Morgan, who's on quite often, is people
Mhm.
think it's gets in the way of their time with their family. But I think that, and Jamie and I talk about it, how it really, in my mind, helps you have more quality time once you have taken care of yourself.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. And I think that, to add on to that, being able to take that self-care, I think part of self-care is also planning what you're going to be doing. Because if you're in that continuous, frantic pace of life, your self-care is the first thing that goes. But
Right.
if you can, I've created, 5 values, and the very first value is clarity and purpose and intent over impulsive action.
Very true.
A lot of that is with self-care.
Yes.
How are you being intentional with the way that you take care of yourself? You talked about the beginning of the day and how to start your day, and how, maybe reading, maybe meditation, prayer. One of the things I like to do, and actually it's interesting, I've used Take 2 minutes for this, to be honest, is at the end of the day, doing the 3 good things.
Yes.
Because so many times we don't celebrate the good things in our life. We go from, well, I've accomplished that, let's move on to the next thing. I'm not talking about taking a day off for every good thing that you do, but at the end of each day, or even at minimum the end of every week, reflect back and say, you know what? I really did accomplish a lot of stuff. I really did accomplish what was important. And it's not just, a whole bunch of things to tick off. It's making sure you're doing the right things at the right time, and having that reflection and doing something like 3 good things, um, is a very powerful tool as well.
It is. I talk about 3 good things here and there, but I don't know if I always encompass or tell people that it is a tool that's best used in the evening or the nighttime, like you just said
Mhm.
you do. But a lot of people talking about 3 good things. So I get a lot of comments about wanting to start it in the morning. I'm not saying there's anything against it, but really it's reflection on the previous day is what it is. So the
Right.
idea behind it is you want to do it later in the day to reflect on what was good about that previous day. That helps your mind get into a positive mindset for when you go to bed, and your subconscious works on that. So it is best used in the evening.
Yeah.
And also, you had touched, and I forgot what you said exactly, but on the ons when you first started talking about self-care, not coming to be, but you mentioned getting a focus on your tasks and not being so can you remember what you said? You weren't being so wow, not coming to me. My
Yeah.
point being, I had a thought on this. I can't remember exactly what you said. I've lost it. I apologize. But you basically, I was thinking when you said it, that in the morning times when I do my self care, what it does help me with is exactly what you said. And that is, it helps me gain clarity of what tasks I should do. So I almost, in that self care time, my mind is working some, whether I'm doing meditation or doing yoga, you're going to still have thoughts. And those thoughts sometimes help me create almost like a playlist of what I want to
Mhm.
accomplish that day in my head. And I
Yeah.
apologize, I forgot exactly what you said, but I
No.
did reflect on it because it was very important to me.
Yeah. No. And I don't know exactly what I said, but I understand where you're going. And what I do remember is that in the morning, a lot of times, if we don't plan out our day will get away from us. And one of the practices that I do, just like in the evening, I do 3 good things, but in the morning, and a lot of times, even the night before, I will plan my day ahead. So I will think about what are 3 things that I want to achieve today. That if I achieve these 3 things, I'm moving closer to my goals. Now, that doesn't mean if I get my 3 things done at 10 o'clock in the morning that I take the rest of the day off. How I use it and how I've coached people to use it is, regardless of what your day holds, make sure that you get those 3 things done and schedule those 3 things into your day. They may only take 15 minutes. Great. schedule 3 15-minute time blocks and knock out those things. And that way, it helps you gain clarity. It helps you understand that no matter what life throws at us, because life's always going to throw curveballs at us.
Always.
As long as we understand these are the 3 things that I want to achieve today to move closer to my goals, it'll be good.
I read a quote yesterday, and I just brought it up when you stated that last thing. It is, you will likely always have some conflict in your life. It's best if you learn to enjoy life while solving conflicts.
Yeah.
Which you just said, you're always going to have some kind of adversity. It's
right. Absolutely.
never going to go away.
And I think it's interesting. It's in that adversity and it's in those crazy times that we actually do some of our greatest growth.
Right.
Because if you think about it, when things are easy, we don't necessarily grow. We don't want things to be hard 100% of the time, but we need some of that pressure in order to help us grow.
Experience helps you grow always. And that experience can be negative experience sometimes or stress, but that's what helps you understand how to do better next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So do you have any advice as a professional coach for someone who feels like they're stuck in a rut? This is a question I received from someone to actually ask you, or since you're a professional coach.
Yeah.
If you're someone stuck in a rut or stuck in a routine or stuck in life, ways to get out of that.
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways to do that. One is, I believe that you need to really take some time, and again, like what I said before, really understand and come to an understanding of who you are and who you want to be. Because I think so many times throughout life, we just go through the motion. And we were, regardless of any religious backing or anything like that, we were all created for something. And I believe that when we get into that rut, when we get into just going through the routine of life, we've kind of lost the view of ourselves. So really trying to understand who am I? What am I here to do? How can I provide service to other people? I think is a key and critical thing. And then I also think it helps to talk to somebody, whether that be a counselor, whether that be a coach, whether that be a friend, a colleague. It doesn't have to be a professional paid individual. It can just be, maybe it's your next door neighbor, maybe it's a spouse, partner, something like that, to really talk about that stuff. But I think getting out of a rut is really about gaining clarity of who you are. The second thing I think is also, it's about taking chances and doing experiments. And what I mean by that is within Agile, we do a lot of things what we call 2-week sprints. And what I like to challenge people that I coach with is, hey, for the next 2 weeks, let's experiment with something. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's, 3 good things. Maybe it's taking cold showers. The list is endless. It really depends on what you're trying to break out of. That doesn't mean you have to do it forever. Take 2 weeks, see what type of impact you have, and then at the end of the 2 weeks, do a retrospective. What worked and what didn't work? And, if it didn't do exactly what I wanted, are there ways that I can make it better? Or if it worked great, maybe that's something you want to implement as a new routine going forward.
Very good. Very good. And you touched on something that I believe in. I've had conversations about this in the past, and that is you finding meaning. I think you mentioned volunteering or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think when people help others is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You can find more meaning in your life because you're helping someone else. And what you're doing specifically, you have to find something that you enjoy helping with. I've used the analogy before of using Take 2 Minutes because Take 2 Minutes is helping people, and I find a great amount of joy in that. A lot of people don't know that I've never made a dime off of Take 2 Minutes. It's been 10,000 hours of my time, but I really enjoy it because it's helping people. And I think if others found something similar, others who may be struggling with or in a rut, as you just said, if they find a way to either volunteer time or help others, they can help find meaning for themselves. And that brings enjoyment quite often.
It does. And the interesting thing about when you help others, you don't realize how much it helps you.
Right.
So many more times I've found that when I give back to others, I end up getting the return is so much greater than what I give out. And sometimes I almost feel guilty, but it's one of those weird things about life where when you give without expecting to get anything back, you end up getting a whole heck of a lot back. So, which to your point can lead to meaning and happiness.
Exactly. Well said. So, with regards to getting out of a rut and all the stuff we just talked about, do you have any suggestions for someone who maybe doesn't have confidence to try new things, who maybe wants to do these things but just lacks the confidence to go out and try and to make a change?
Yeah. First thing I would do is start small. I think when you start small, in the coaching world and in psychology, there's something called the confidence competent loop, um, or confidence competence loop. And what that does is, as you do something, it gives you more confidence, which then allows you to continue doing, which means you grow in your competence or in your expertise, which then helps you to be more confident and try more things. So I kind of view it as a snowball going down a hill. A snowball can start very, very small, but by the time it gets to the bottom of a mountain, it can destroy anything in its path. And I
Right.
view that as kind of like this. When you don't have confidence, sometimes the best thing to do is to just take that first small step and soak that in and look for ways that has helped you, and then take that next small step. It's not about how far can you leap in one bound. It's taking one step, one foot in front of the other. And by doing that, run some of those 2-week experiments, see what that looks like. Um, Journal about that. Talk to somebody about that as well. And I think by doing that, you're going to create greater confidence, which in turn will give you greater competence, which then will help you just perpetuate that snowball going down the mountain.
That's good advice. I appreciate that. I also think that we can add on to that. When you're taking the small steps and trying the small things, don't be afraid of failure or it not working out. Learn from that experience. So I think a lot of people do get afraid of failure or doing things absolutely the right way. They try to over plan what they're going to do. And I think to what Heath's saying, and I could agree with this, take a small step, but also do it without fear of it being the wrong step, and learn if it is the wrong step. You can adjust the next time and try again. And you're going to learn if it is something wrong about it or something you want to do different. And that learning helps you become a better person also, or build your abilities.
Yeah, no,
Confidence.
I think you're right. And one of the principles that I live with is to fail fast.
Yes.
Because when you get those failures out of the way, you learn what doesn't work. So that means something else will. And so, failing fast is a good way to think about, what, I'm going to fail. Somebody told me it's a funny acronym for fail, but it's your first attempt in learning.
Oh, nice.
And so if you fail fast, you're learning more and more and more.
You are.
Which will help with that confidence as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think I've never talked about it, I don't believe, as far as publicly and something like this, but I've had a couple companies now, and both companies had many failures on its way to being more successful. And Take 2 Minutes is a good example. Take 2 Minutes started completely different than where it's at right now. And it was through failures and realizing what can help people and what doesn't help people and what people do and don't like, that it's grown to where it's at now. So there's been many failures along the way, even with Take 2 Minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the catalyst for growth.
It is. So with regards to Take 2 Minutes, do you think that there are benefits of coaches and counselors using Take 2 Minutes for their clients?
Yeah, I do. It's interesting. I've turned one of my clients on to Take 2 Minutes, actually. And the interesting thing is when we do coaching, there's a lot of coaching that deals with mindset, that deals with the mental space of maybe it's just a few mental tweaks that you need to do. But the power that I found within Take 2 Minutes is that by having the messages, positive messages sent to you, and just one example, it helps to keep your mind in that positive space. By keeping your mind in that positive space, it allows you to think positively about other areas and to see other areas. So I love having those daily messages. But some of the other tools that I've talked to people about is even the different meditations that you can do. And again, some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. But it's I find it a quiet place. I almost view Take 2 Minutes as a quiet place of solitude. It's, even though it's on your phone, even though it's on this, which a lot of people say that's what's causing some of our issues. I kind of view it as a private solitude sanctuary type of place to where it's positivity, it's speaking into you, and you're able to just calm yourself. So I think coaches, counselors, really anybody, that's just one of the many benefits of Take 2 Minutes.
Very good. And the positive messages you were talking about, in my mind, is we refer to that often as priming. And the idea is you're priming your mind to recognize positivity. So a lot of the activities in Take 2 Minutes, not just the positive messages, but the gratitude journey, the 3 good things, all those around positive psychology. And the idea behind it all is you're priming or creating new neural networks in your mind to help you recognize positivity throughout the day. And that positive psychology has been researched for decades now. It's it is something that works. You just gotta, like anything else, apply yourself. You're not gonna get in shape without working out. You got to work out every day. And the same thing happens for positive psychology. You got to work on it every day.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I've chosen to get my messages at 4:00 in the afternoon. And I'm sure, people do it in the morning and they want to start off their day with positive, which is great. And I fully, approve of that. Not that anyone needs approval, but I like getting it at 4:00 because most days, I'm starting to wind down my professional job and I'm starting to get into my family time. And I want to make sure that when I get to my family, when my family time kicks in, I'm in that right frame of mind. So I do that at 4:00 to where I get my message and it just starts to put me in that positive, like you said, that priming, that positive mindset to be able to go and to be with my family.
So as we wrap it up, Heath, why don't you tell everybody how to get a hold of you with Rise Over Run and who may be ideal clients to look at the service?
Yeah, absolutely. So people can get a hold of me. They can go to my website, which is rorcoaching.com. There, I've got a blog. You can sign up for our weekly newsletter as well, where we share a lot of insights, positive insights, as well as productivity and performance information. And I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that stuff as well. So you can find me there. Really, the people that we work with are those individuals who know that there's a next level in their life, but they're just not quite sure how to get there. So if you are being reflective and if you're sitting there saying, you know what, I know I'm created for more. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to get that. I'm not clear. Reach out. Love to talk to you. We offer free sessions all the time. Part of what I like to do, you were talking about Take 2 Minutes and how that helps you personally and something you enjoy. I love helping people, period. So, yes, it is a business. I'm not going to lie. But if there's anything that we can do to help you, to support you, please reach out, let us know. I'd love to set up just, even if it's 30 minutes and just talk to you and see, hey, how could we help? Be more than happy to do that.
Awesome. So again, rorcoaching.com is where you can find Heath.
Absolutely.
I appreciate your time today, Heath. It was good chatting with you as always, and we should do this again within about 2 weeks, ideally.
Hey, sounds good to me.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks for listening. I hope you found that discussion helpful and interesting. If there are any topics you would like to hear discussed, head over to take2minutes.org and use the Contact Us form to submit your suggestions. Also, if you appreciate our content, sign up for an account at take2minutes.org. Subscriptions help us to continue generating new content. Thanks again.